Ebullient greetings. I'm your host, Jackie Bird of Jackie Bird Spiritual Wellness, your guide to stress and anxiety relief, mindfulness, awareness, self-care, self-love, and personal growth. Welcome and thank you for joining me as we roll with peace in mind. Greetings. I hope you all are doing very well. I hope that if it's summer where you are, you're enjoying it. And that if you're where it's wintertime, I hope you're enjoying it. I want to tell you about a couple of Zoom events I have coming up, some guided meditations that are online for you to do in the comfort of your home. It's the end of the month reset, guided meditation with sound healing. The first date is Saturday, August 22nd from 10 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time to 10:30 Eastern Daylight Time. And then the following Saturday is another one, August 29th at the same time, 10 a.m. to 10:30. 30 minutes, relax while I provide the sound and the visualization and the guided meditation. I hope that you can make it. And if you can't make it, and you are in another part of the world and you need something happening at night, or if you're in the same part of the world I'm in and you're looking for something at night, give me a holler. Let me know. I'll certainly add something so that you would be able to make it as well. And as usual, tell your friends, tell your family, and the information is on the show notes or in the show notes. You'll be able to find the link. Or you can go to my website, JackieBirdSpiritualWellness.com. Go to Wellness Events. You'll see it there. It is also on the platform Humanitics. End of the month reset, guided meditation with sound healing. The other thing I want to tell you guys about is I am now on Substack. So I am encouraging you to subscribe for free to my Substack. I publish every week. And I also am putting out like some very inspirational notes every day. The publication is called Tapping Into and Tuning Within, and it's a reminder to do just that. When things get really hectic, sometimes we forget. So I hope that you join my Substack. That link is also in the show notes. It's substack.com/@ Jackie Bird Spiritual Wellness. So I hope to see you. Come on and subscribe. And as I said, tell your friends, tell your peeps so that I can grow. I want to grow this thing. The other thing is I am in the midst of planning, or actually I should say I'm in the midst of researching, putting together a retreat in August of next year to Costa Rica. It is a place I absolutely love. We've been quite a few times, and I want to lead a retreat there. So just want to put that bug in your ear. There's no information as of yet, but I want you to know that that's brewing. So if you're thinking, hey, Bird, I want to hang with you next August in Costa Rica, let me know that too. Today's riff is The Innocent Face of Rage. Now, this was something I had written, let's see, I guess I wrote this thing. I was in my early 40s, so well over 20 years ago. But perhaps you can relate to what I'm going to share with you. Some years ago, a friend and I walked into a small coffee shop. In the back, a man was offering free palm readings. And being one always intrigued by things beyond the five senses, I sat down and presented my hand with high expectations. After a pause, the reader gently said, "You are very angry." Not exactly what I had in mind. Surely he had to see much success in my career as a performing artist. Therefore, he had to be confusing the lines in my hand with someone else's. What could I, the queen of effervescence, possibly be angry about? But despite my weak protests, he insisted. And my supposed anger was all he talked about for the allotted 5 to 10 minutes. I felt like I wasted my money. Then I remembered I didn't pay. It was a free reading. Fast forward a few years and I'm artfully navigating the seas of life. Things were status quo. I was healthy. The bills were getting paid. I had wonderful friends and was in a fantastic relationship. Aside from the usual frustrations of the showbiz life, I had no major complaints, though I couldn't deny the quiet undertow of feeling off kilter, the sense of something being wrong without tangible evidence or incident. That being the case, I did what a lot of us do, put it aside and focused on the day-to-day operations of my life. But one July 4th weekend, I was forced to take a swim in the undertow and come clean. The city was in the throes of a heat wave. My honey had just left town, so I had the place to myself. But he was barely gone a day before I had the absolute displeasure of a visitation from my ultimate phobia, a water bug. Now, water bugs are to me what mice, snakes, and spiders are to other people. The sight of them reduces me to an out-of-control wind-up toy on speed. I just lose it. Since my protector was gone, I had to slay the monster myself. I wound up screaming and crying like a toddler in the terrible 2 stage. Just pitiful, pitiful. As I was unraveling, I knew something was truly amiss, but at the moment, hysteria had a serious foothold and I was swept away in the torrent. Numb. The next day I faced myself. Why had I lost it like that? To get the answer, I knew I needed to dig deep with care, like I was excavating in a sacred burial ground. Yes, I do abhor water bugs. But geez, I had carried on. I mean, it was really, as I said, pitiful. Something was truly consuming my soul and needed tending to. But what? A quiet voice responded, "You are full of rage. I've tried to tell you in many ways, but you wouldn't listen." And in that moment, I knew truth. I was full of pure, unadulterated, unfiltered uranium rage. And no, it wasn't that time of the month, nor did I just have a bad day. I was more than frustrated, more than angry. I was a fire-breathing behemoth behind an innocent-looking face. Then Miss Weisenheimer speaks up loudly. Okay, we admit we're enraged, but at what, pray tell? For a minute, I'm stumped. I had prided myself on staying connected. I had more self-help books than the library. I was in touch with my inner children. We did lunch often. In the midst of my search, I came to this. You can recite affirmations to infinitum, but if you don't clean house, and I mean truly clean house, like you do when important folks are coming over, you're just putting perfume on over the funk. Every time I felt the bile rise, I'd shoot it down with a dose of positive thinking, never addressing the gnawing, just excusing it away. Anything to deny the underlying earthquake waiting to rock and roll. Now really, I was in no mood to go deep sea soul searching. Having survived one of the most tumultuous times in my adult life, I thought the digging was over. My 30s began in the midst of an ugly, ugly, long, drawn-out divorce featuring verbal and physical abuse. Add to that a no-win work situation where I battled with cast members constantly. And if that wasn't enough drama, I was having an affair with what was very destructive to my psyche and put me in harm's way on more than one occasion. And I lost my house. As a result, I had a constant, unrelenting pain that lived below my rib cage on the right side. Needless to say, breathing was not a cherished thing. Now, you know, things are bad when you're the smallest you've ever been since birth and you don't even notice. So consumed by helplessness, I was in a period of acute depression and seriously contemplated suicide. One morning at 2 a.m. found me on the beach in Atlantic City thinking if I just walk out into the ocean and kept going till I drowned, no one would miss me and the hurting would just stop. To this day, I really don't know what prevented me. The water beckoned so dark, peaceful and inviting, almost lulling me into a sense of peace. It looked like an answer, but not the answer. I remember I had a fleeting thought. The recognition that if I had done that, 2 people close to me at that time would have been devastated. And that was enough to pull me out of the I'm going this way because I'm done. The recognition that there are 2 people that love you. So I pried myself away. I headed back to the place I was staying at the time, and I saw those 2 very anxious and worried friends. So much for not being missed, kid. Anyway, a vast amount of inner work got me through that excruciatingly bleak and endless period. I regained my fun, lovingness, and laughter, making a pact with self that no matter how dim the light, I would always find something to laugh at. I learned to accept responsibility for my life's choices and stop blaming others for my lot. And now here I was with the discovery of toxic rage festering in my living room, my soul. In the past, I thought I had gone as deep as I could go. Why wasn't it good enough? But inherently, I knew I was up for the task, and it was imperative to my sense of well-being and happiness to keep digging. Again, I asked, what could I possibly be enraged about? I knew it was beyond the obvious, which was the lack of a relationship with my father. I knew it was a lack of relationship with my father. Okay, check. We knew that. Yeah, okay. And I had been dealing with that off and on for years. Yet, knew it was something even deeper, something I had never even considered. Silence at first. Then no. It's not possible. But then I understood in that moment why I hadn't faced it in all those years. I was ashamed at the unearthing. How could I be mad at my mother? A woman who had passed on when I was 9, at that time over 30 years ago. We leave this earth when it's our time, and how could I have the right to be angry over something that is as inevitable as death itself? How could I take myself seriously by admitting I harbored rage toward my mother? My beautiful mommy, the lady who used to make my birthday cake with pink and blue icing, the lady who made all of my clothes and let me play with her jewelry, The person who gave me my civics lessons, like don't stare at the nuns across from us on the bus because they look different. The one who could move her neck from side to side before Janet Jackson was a thought in her mom's heart. Mommy, who explained death in a way I could understand at 5 years old. Death, when you go to sleep and don't wake up. My rational mind screamed this finding was preposterous. Of course you're mad at your dad. Look at all the stuff he did to you, and then having the nerve, the gall to shun you. But I knew it was integral to the evolution of my being to deny it any longer. I was ticked off because Mommy died on me. The floodgates opened. The more I came to terms with my truth without judgment, the more I sobbed. I was finally ready to deal with the loss, pain, and rage. I gave myself permission to feel the emotion, as irrational as it seemed. All that I endured in my childhood was a direct result of her passing. The stepmom from hell moving in 5 months after and declaring her turf, making no bones about her disdain for me. An alcoholic, tyrannical dad who I think just snapped due to the guilt and sudden loss. Loving relatives cast aside as a result of the fallout and rendered strangers. My entire world was turned upside down, and because things moved so fast and furiously, I didn't have the time to mourn my loss. I followed the example of the adults in my life and moved on. Can you believe that? 9 years old, no time to grieve. The last image I have of her was through the doorway as I lay in bed, seeing her as a white cocoon wrapped in a sheet as they carried her out on the stretcher in the middle of the night. If I were a film director, I know exactly how that scene would be lit and shot. I must have awakened just at that moment, having no recollection of hearing anything or anyone prior. With a child's knowing, I knew things were wrong, unable to express it like adults, but fully cognizant of events. Earlier that night, I had asked her for another orange, and she said yes. It was 8 o'clock. There's no way she would have said yes if she were up to snuff, as my aunt would say. When I went to bed, Dad wasn't home, and there was something so sad about my mom. When I think about it, she had been that way for almost a year. There was such a heaviness in her energy when she thought I wasn't looking. I was in the stupor of sleepiness when she was taken from our home. I had no idea that would be the last time I would see her. For 2 weeks, I eagerly awaited her return, unaware she was lying in a coma because nobody told me. I stayed with my Bible-spouting grandma, who rallied on about the last days and times, storming around the apartment, yelling at the top of her lungs that we were all about to burn. One day as I sat crouched behind the couch, I said in a private prayer to God, I asked him not to destroy the world before I turned 18. I knew I needed to be on my own and run my own life. I also asked that Mommy would be okay so my brother and I could go home. But that was not to be. I did what we're taught to do, move on. But I had only postponed the inevitable. The how do I feel about this life-altering event? When I finally came to grips with all of this, I felt like I had shed 100 pounds. Not to say I could flip cartwheels, but I gained peace with self. And it's an ongoing process. because I will always miss her, but I no longer harbor rage toward her. And I have released it with no harm to myself or others. Now, at this point, my mom has been gone. Oh boy, let me see, do the math. 56 years? Yeah, 56 years. She's been gone. So, no, 57. Math, hello. I know I am the person I am and live the life I lead because of the sum total of my experiences and choices. And of that, I'm proud. I love her and am thankful for the short time we had. The things she taught me in her short time on earth stay in my heart and mind. Memories flood me that were once lost. Remember her. Oh God. Remembering her drawing the snot out of my infant brother's nose with her mouth because he couldn't breathe. Oh my God, has got to go down as one of the most disgusting things I have ever witnessed. But what an extraordinary testament of love. And though the 8-year-old me was totally grossed out at that time, her adult counterpart sees the lesson. Coming to terms with my anger created the freedom to rejoice in being a living product of her. And every day I look in the mirror, I see her. The more I talk to Nana and my great aunt, well, at this point, my great aunt is gone, but at the time of this writing, she was here. And I learned more. I learned more, particularly from my great aunt, about my mother. And we had a lot in common. She wanted to be a dancer. And I ended up dancing professionally when it was nowhere on my mind when she was alive. Now, that bit of recent information at that time, I recall the memory of sitting impatiently outside the door of a dance studio. I guess I was about 7. Oh God, I was totally bored. She was taking a ballet class and thoroughly engrossed. Little did I know I would be doing the same moves decades later. Sometimes I used to serve as a judge at dance competitions. And 2 years prior to me putting this all down on paper, I was completing a score for a young contestant. I passed her sheet down. I placed the next score sheet in front of me while I readied the tape recorder. I looked up in time for the start of the next contestant, and the world ceased to exist. That smile, that face, that spirit, it was her. I watched the 2-minute routine in a haze of tears. The young artist was astounding, and I was rocked to the core, feeling an intense connection to my mother as we coexisted in the same timeline. She was here, fulfilling her dream to dance. Now, was that truly my mom reincarnated? Doesn't even matter. I do believe our loved ones are with us always, and one must be open to receive the communication. Meeting and releasing my rage has shown me how easy it is to delude oneself about inner health, mental health. Many of us are very diligent about getting that yearly doctor's checkup, that mammogram, that pap smear, that dental appointment. But when it comes to how one really is doing, how one is really doing inside, halting to tune in and listen to our inner selves, we'd rather not. In this technological age with barely enough time to breathe, inner health, mental health falls dead last in priorities. Volcanoes are brewing within, and we do just enough to keep them at bay. But ultimately, it manifests by taking it out on our children, our mates, co-workers, employees, friends, strangers, and ourselves. Checking in can seem self-indulgent, as if it's a self-indulgent thing. You have to take care of everybody else before yourself. No. It is a self-indulgent necessity. To realize one's true self is to delve into self. Ask questions, take inventory, take responsibility, and make changes if you don't like what you see. And while you cannot change the past, we have the power to change our attitude about it, hence how it ultimately affects us. Claiming, facing, and letting go of anger releases its hold on us, allowing the God self to shine, the self that attracts kindness, joy, and peace. Though it doesn't release us from our lessons, feeling better about the journey of life makes it worth living and enjoying. I hope the story I have shared with you from a past chapter in my life helps you in some way. Maybe you see yourself in some of the story. Maybe you realize that you've been holding on to some things that it's time to let go of. I hope that this is of service to you. I want to remind you, please register for my online guided meditation, end of the month guided meditation. Please subscribe to my Substack, and to remember to always roll with peace in mind.